Hello everybody, I'm Dr. Randy Cook from MD Coaches, and I'm here with another installment in our Leadership in Crisis series. And I want to talk to you today about a couple of things that I think are particularly important early on in any crisis, and that is assuming responsibility and demonstrating responsibility. And by way of example, I'm going to go through the events in the near tragedy of Captain Chesley Sullenberger's landing his airplane on the Hudson River back in 2009. And if you saw that movie, Sully, you'll remember that the airplane took off with First Officer Skiles doing the flying, and just a few minutes into the flight, they ran into a flock of geese. At first, they were aware that they'd been struck by the geese, but it was several seconds later that they realized that many of the geese had been ingested into the engines, and both engines had failed. So at that point, Sullenberger knew that he had to go into crisis mode, and he did it very well. First, by assuming responsibility, and he did that by announcing in the cockpit, "I have the airplane." And what that meant was that he's going to take over the flying responsibilities, and it signals Skiles that his job is to get to work on the checklist and see if he can get the engines to restart. Now, the second thing that Sullenberger has to do in terms of assuming responsibility is to talk to the air traffic controllers. So he contacts them on the radio, and again, with 4 words, he announces, "We have an emergency." Those are very important words in the aircraft world, because what it means is that, Mr. Air Traffic Controller, your job now is to keep people out of my way, and I can fly this airplane at any speed, any altitude, and any heading that I choose in order to keep things safe. So that puts him fully in charge. He has assumed responsibility. Now, the next part I think was more difficult. He had to demonstrate responsibility. He had to decide where he could land that airplane. 2 airports had been cleared out for him. He sized up the situation. He understood, because of his years of experience, that if he tried to make it to either one, that he would almost certainly crash into heavily populated areas, and not only would all of the people on the aircraft die, but probably a lot of people on the ground as well. So he made the decision to land this airplane on the Hudson River, something that they had never practiced, something that they had never discussed, something that they didn't have any simulator training for. It was something that nobody had ever tried to do before. And as luck would have it, because of his some 20,000 hours of experience and his prior experience as an Air Force fighter pilot, he executed a picture-perfect landing on the Hudson River. The aircraft remained afloat. Ferry pilots in the nearby vicinity were able to get there very quickly and get the passengers off the airplane. All 155 souls on board survived with only minor injuries. So this is a perfect example of, number 1, assuming responsibility, and then number 2, demonstrating responsibility. So remember, when you're in a situation of being the leader in a crisis, remember those 2 principles, and you'll be the person that people will want to follow as their leader. I'm Dr. Randy Cook for MD Coaches, reminding you that we see you, we believe in you, and we're here for you. If you think you might be interested in executive coaching, please reach out to us. You can find us on the web at mymdcoaches.com. Remember that sample coaching sessions are free, and we'd love to hear from you. Thanks for listening.